Let's celebrate female astronauts.
Katy Perry is in complete meltdown mode after Hollywood brutally canceled her over a string of desperate, attention-grabbing stunts, from her awkward billionaire space trip to painfully embarrassing tour performances. She's become a walking PR disaster now. The same industry that once crowned her a pop queen is cutting ties and turning its back fast. Hollywood has canceled Katy Perry, and it all started crashing down after that infamous 2025 Blue Origin spaceflight. What was supposed to be a triumphant moment for women in entertainment and science became a full-blown PR disaster, the kind of cultural flameout that gets archived next to Fyre Festival and Kendall Jenner's Pepsi ad. Katy wasn't hailed as a trailblazer. She was roasted as a space tourist in a glitter bodysuit playing pretend, and Jeff Bezos is billion-dollar rocket. Let's be real. She went to space for 10 minutes, 10. Barely enough time to finish a podcast episode. The capsule reached suborbital altitude, floated for a few minutes, then came right back down. There was no science, no real mission, no training that went beyond photo ops and PR fluff. And yet, Perry spent weeks promoting herself as part of the first all-woman astronaut crew, complete with emotional bell-ringing ceremonies and faux inspirational Instagram posts. The backlash was immediate. And we have to boost her back because within hours of the launch on February 12, 2025, the internet went feral. Her hat Katy Cosmonaut trended on X, mostly with memes, clowning her spiritual awakening in orbit. But this wasn't just about jokes. Big voices in media obliterated her. Megyn Kelly called it a well-funded Instagram story in disguise and mocked her for acting like she just returned from Mars when she barely left the Earth's atmosphere. Kelly's rant went viral, over 5 million views in 48 hours, and it struck a nerve. Her quote, "Training for what? Sitting still in a 10-minute rich people's Disney ride." And just like that, the tides shifted. It wasn't just online hate. This was mainstream media rejection. Hollywood insiders began distancing themselves. The tour support dried up. A-list endorsements vanished. What should have been a legacy-defining achievement turned into a career-defining embarrassment. The rocket only went 65 miles up. But Katy's public image, it's been in free fall ever since. Megyn Kelly was the first to really pull the plug on Katy's public image. She didn't just criticize the flight. She demolished it. Kelly called the entire mission a well-funded Instagram story in disguise and laughed at the idea that Katy needed training for sitting in a rocket and floating for a few minutes. Her takedown went viral and struck a nerve with people who were already tired of celebrity stunts. To them, it wasn't bold or empowering. It was tone-deaf billionaire cosplay during a time when real people are struggling. And once Kelly said it out loud, others followed now. Joe Rogan piled on next on his podcast, one of the biggest in the world. He roasted Perry for trying to repackage herself as some kind of cosmic feminist guru. He mocked her awkward feminine divine speech and said the whole SpaceX launch felt like a Disneyland ride for rich people trying to stay relevant. His sarcasm was brutal and his audience lapped it up overnight. Katy went from pop legend to punchline. And when both Kelly and Rogan are calling you out, the ripple effect is massive, especially in an industry where public opinion spreads like wildfire. But this wasn't just media personalities talking. The silence from inside the industry said even more. Katy tried to claw her way back with her new album, 143, teaming up with the producers who helped her dominate the charts back in the 2010s: Max Martin, Stargate, and even Dr. Luke. That's where things really exploded. Dr. Luke, the same man accused by Kesha of sexual and emotional abuse, was now back in Katy's studio. And suddenly all that female empowerment messaging she'd been pushing felt empty. Well, there's already people saying that they faked it, which I think is silly. Well, I love those people, but that's great. Those are even longtime fans started to drift. And inside Hollywood, nobody defended her. No big-name artists posted support. No celebrity features, no Grammy buzz. Nothing. It was like she'd vanished from the A-list. And when your peers don't have your back, it's not just a bad album cycle. It's a cancellation. And it wasn't the first red flag. Even Orlando Bloom, the man who once proudly supported Katy Perry in Sardinia, has finally thrown in the towel, and not for a beach day. After nearly 9 years of this roller coaster relationship, Bloom reportedly couldn't handle the second-hand embarrassment anymore. And can you blame him? Watching her fiancé run around in circles on stage, wielding an invisible lightsaber like she's battling an HVAC system, is enough to make anyone question their life choices. According to insiders, Orlando didn't just walk away quietly. He expressed deep frustration over Katy's recent PR stunts, calling her antics tone-deaf, embarrassing, and completely out of touch with reality. Apparently, the breaking point wasn't even the awful 143 album. It was the Blue Origin stunt. Orlando allegedly warned her not to blast off into space while promoting feminist slogans cooked up by a room full of male producers. But did Katy listen? Nope. She rang that ceremonial bell like she was leading NASA's next moon mission. Orlando, meanwhile, was reportedly sitting at home wondering how the woman who once dominated the charts had turned into a walking parody of girlboss culture. Let's not forget, this is Legolas we're talking about. He fought orcs with dignity. He wasn't about to stick around while his partner fumbled through another failed pop feminist reboot co-written by Dr. Luke, no less. And it wasn't just career choices that had him packing his bags. Sources close to Bloom say he was exhausted by the constant need to spin Katy's image, trying to explain why she's twerking into splits on stage one night and promoting a space flight the next. The man was starring in a documentary about pushing human limits, jumping out of helicopters and rock climbing with no ropes. And here's Katy flailing across the stage like she's auditioning for a theme park musical in private. Orlando allegedly told friends he missed the old Katy, the one with purpose and edge, not the one chasing headlines with desperate antics. When even your own fiancé taps out because your brand of empowerment looks more like a costume party gone wrong, that says something. Love may be blind, but apparently even Orlando Bloom couldn't ignore the cringe forever. Indie pop artist Ryan Weaver came forward with a story from Coachella saying Katy mocked and belittled her during a backstage interaction. She described it as immature and cruel. It didn't make massive headlines, but for those already questioning Katy's character, it confirmed what they suspected: the empowerment image was a mask. Even Travis McCoy, her ex-boyfriend, became part of this unraveling. Her song Circle the Drain publicly dragged him for addiction and personal issues, something that now looks less like raw honesty and more like exploitation. And if all that wasn't enough, the Lifetime's tour sent things spiraling even further. Footage of Perry's stage performances started circulating online, and it was hard to watch, not because of bold new ideas, but because she looked completely lost. Her choreography was clumsy, her energy forced, and critics described her dancing as glitching like a broken animatronic. Instead of a reinvention, it felt like desperate for a 40-year-old icon twerking in circles and trying to recapture what she once had, but missing the mark entirely. The saddest part? This all could have ended differently if Katy had just stepped back, reflected, or evolved in a real way. Maybe the industry would have given her space, but she didn't. She doubled down on bad choices. She stayed silent when it mattered and loud when it didn't. She embraced controversial figures, ignored genuine criticism, and tried to manufacture a comeback with smoke and mirrors. Let's be real. When Joe Rogan comes for you, it's never subtle. And when he turned his attention to Katy Perry's Blue Origin spaceflight and her whole femina and divine narrative, he absolutely torched her on the Joe Rogan Experience. Rogan didn't just criticize her. He roasted her like it was open mic night at a comedy club. And the crowd, oh, they were loving every second. He sarcastically dubbed Katy a guru for Instagram feminism, which honestly sounds like a rejected caption from one of her own press releases. According to Rogan, the space flight was less about breaking boundaries and more about playing dress-up in zero gravity. He didn't hold back, calling it a rich people's Disney ride and mocking her deep feminine awakening narrative like it was the plot of a failed reality show. So they get up there, and they look at the Earth. Yeah. That's why, everybody is calling bullshit on the outside of the capsule, right? That it wasn't, completely on fire. I buy that. Why? Why is he going? Because he wants to go hook up and connect with other Hollywood people. That's why. What really stings? The hypocrisy? He complains about her going to space, And then he wants to go to the wedding of the people who made it possible for her to do this in the first place. But the real punch, he compared her to a lost pop star clinging to a spaceship for relevance and coming from someone with Joe's platform, where millions tune in not just in the US, but globally. This wasn't just a passing insult. It was a cultural gut punch because when Rogan mocks you, clips go viral, memes explode, and suddenly the internet isn't just laughing at you, it's wondering why you ever took yourself so seriously in the first place. His segment didn't exist in a vacuum either. It came right after Megyn Kelly's viral takedown of the same event. Together, their commentary turned what Katy hoped would be a boss woman in space moment into something that looked more like an overfunded influencer stunt. People stopped asking what she was doing and started asking what she was thinking, and that shift, that's what started cracking the foundation under her career. But if Rogan's roasting was the public slap, the music industry's response was the silent knife to the back. Even Max Martin and Stargate, the hitmakers behind some of the most iconic songs of the 2000s, stayed quiet. No statements, no Instagram support, no stream. This now tweets nothing. And that silence, that's where the real drama was. Because these aren't just producers, they're industry giants. If even they didn't feel like defending Katy's new work that said everything, and Hollywood took note. There were no celebrity features, no cosigns, no A-listers hyping her up. 143 came and went like a ghost album. Unheard, unprompted, and unmixed. That kind of industry cold shoulder doesn't just happen. It's calculated behind the scenes. Insiders started ghosting her. No big budget music videos with cameos. No late night show appearances, just a quiet industry freeze out. That said, we're done backing you. The saddest part? This was supposed to be her big redemption arc. Katy Perry was trying to recreate the teenage dream magic, hoping lightning would strike twice. But instead of fireworks, it fizzled. The music was dated, the lyrics were cringeworthy, and the rollout felt forced, like someone trying to impersonate their former self. So now you have a pop icon clinging to old glories, mocked by media heavyweights, and iced out by the very producers who helped her rise. It's not just a flop. It's a full-blown fall from grace. Not because people stopped liking Katy Perry, but because they stopped believing her. And when that happens in Hollywood, there's no comeback team big enough to save you. Let's talk about the moment the girl power mask started to slip and the cracks began showing in Katy Perry's carefully crafted pop persona. Sure, she once stood as the symbol of candy-coated feminism, but behind the bubblegum image, things weren't exactly sweet. And in the background of her public downfall, some of the biggest damage came not from flops or failed singles, but from the people she hurt along the way. Katy made fun of her looks, cracked immature jokes, and basically made her feel humiliated in front of other industry insiders. Now, did this go viral on the level of Perry's spaceflight disaster? No, it flew under the radar for most mainstream outlets. But for fans already questioning Katy's behavior, this was a huge deal. It fit too well with the whispers that had been circling her for years, that Katy was all smiles on stage, but behind closed doors, not so nice. Let's be real. When the industry turns on you, it's not always loud. Sometimes it's dead silent. That's exactly what happened to Katy Perry. Because while her name might still be printed on tour posters and her face still shows up in a few nostalgic TikToks, the people who really make up Hollywood, the A-listers, they've left the building. And trust me, the silence is loud. While artists like Taylor Swift get surprise appearances from Ice Spice, Phoebe Bridgers, and every third A-list actress in Los Angeles, Katy couldn't even get a retweet. Not from Beyoncé, not from Dua Lipa, not even from the C-list crew. That usually shows up just to stay relevant during her 2025 career meltdown. The Blue Origin PR stunt, the 143 album flop, and the awkward as hell Lifetimes tour. Katy Perry came into the game with a fictional image so carefully built it could have been manufactured in a lab. Rebellious but safe. Sexy but not scandalous. Christian girl gone pop star with just enough eyeliner and whipped cream bras to shake off her roots. She was what 2010s feminism looked like in a Forever 21 catalog, and it worked until it didn't. She wanted to be a legend. But even Hollywood has stopped singing along. Like, subscribe and buckle up because we're only going deeper into the downfall.